Hey everyone, welcome back to this week's episode of Beneath the Layers podcast. This week I have Jordan, who we went to the same high school, I believe, but we actually never really talked too much or hung out. We knew a lot of the same people and crossed paths every now and then. But I mean, ever since I graduated, because I think you were about you graduated in 2014.
Correct. Yeah.
14. I graduated in 2012, and I don't think I've seen him since then, really. But if you would want to go ahead and just introduce yourself a little bit, go ahead.
My name's Jordan. From Riverside. I grew up in Riverside, born and raised. I currently live in Fontana with my fiance and my daughter. That's pretty much it about me. That's it, yeah.
Yeah, the one thing that I do know is that you are really into photography, right? Do you consider that to be part of your profession, or is it more of a hobby that you do?
It started as a hobby 100%. I got into it just because I like taking pictures of the city, taking pictures of nature and of Riverside.
Yeah.
It's definitely turned into a profession within the last 2 years. I'm fully booked every weekend until the end of the year. And it's just something that I've learned to enjoy and just do, and I can see myself doing it for the rest of my life.
Oh, really?
Yes.
It's just something that you love doing now? You found a passion in it?
Yeah, definitely. And I love capturing people's moments.
Oh, okay.
I can freeze time for people, whether it's a wedding or, family pictures. I can freeze time for them and capture that moment for them so they can hold on to it forever.
Yeah, I mean, that's really cool, and I'm sure that all your clients or everybody that you have really appreciate that you do that for them, because, I mean, I've seen a few of your pictures that you've taken. They're really good.
Thank you.
I mean, I'm assuming, though, when you first started with photography, you didn't have the most professional camera at the time, but what did you start taking pictures with? Was it just your cell phone, or was it some camera that you just got, a beginner's level, or how did that start?
My first, what I consider photography picture, was with my phone.
Okay.
I took it off of my phone. I would, go to views and take pictures with my phone, and then I think a couple months after that, my mom bought me my first camera, which was the Canon Rebel T6.
Oh, okay.
So that was my first camera ever, and I rode that for 2 years.
Yeah.
And it's a great camera. It's a perfect camera to start with.
Yeah.
As you get better in photography and you start doing portraits, that's when you'll catch. I was editing pictures for 3 hours per picture.
Oh, wow.
So it just got continuous. It was getting difficult editing pictures that long, especially when I started building more clients, and that's why I jumped up to a newer camera after that.
Oh, okay. So with the newer camera, it's just a lot easier to edit the photos.
100, yeah, definitely.
Okay.
It's easier to capture pictures. I can get a good shoot done in about 30 to 45 minutes.
Oh, okay.
And it's easier to capture pictures, and then definitely when it comes to editing, it's a breeze.
Okay. So would you say most of the time when it comes to photography is the editing portion, or the actual capturing the moments?
So editing is definitely 75% of it.
Okay.
But you can't edit a picture if you don't capture the right moments.
Got it.
You get me? So you have to have an eye, and then once you capture that moment, the editing does take most of the time, and that's most of the work. That's where what I learned in photography school. I only took one course of photography school. What I learned was editing is what you edit to what you thought you saw when you took the picture.
Got it.
So that's everybody's edit's different. Everybody sees life differently. So when you edit, that's how you saw life at that time, and that's why you edit it the way you edited it.
Got it. Okay. And so people that are watching the video format of this can probably see, and probably people that already know who you are, can probably see that your arm is in a sling here.
Yes.
And so what happened with that? How did that happen?
Yeah, so back in 2017, I was going to ride to Pico Rivera with my fiance's father, uncle, and cousin. We were going to ride to Pico Rivera for Easter. And We met up in Fontana, and when we took off, I hopped on the freeway. We were going about 80 miles. We got maybe 30 minutes down the way, and I hit a pothole going about 80 miles an hour.
Oh, wow.
Got they call it the Harley death wobble. I tried to gas out of it and got thrown over my bike and landed directly on my neck. And
oh, wow.
I guess I've never heard of this until it happened to me, but when I landed on my neck, all of my nerves in my brachial plexus area,
Mm-hmm.
they all got completely ripped from the spine.
Oh, wow.
So there was no chance of like them going back in and trying to put the nerves back into the spine because they mess up.
Yeah.
It could be
everything else.
So they pretty much just told me that they tried to take a nerve from like my chest and my rib and put it in my shoulder and my bicep just to give me some movement.
Mm-hmm.
And I got a little bit of movement back, but it's not like usable movement. It's just something that I have to live with. But I definitely just learned, you have to look at the positive. It could have been worse.
Yeah, that's true.
The day after my accident, my fiance told me she was pregnant. So
oh, wow.
I woke up from surgery, found out my arm was never going to work, and I'm having a daughter. So I just had to not focus on the negative and look more at the positive, that I'm even here to watch my daughter grow up. So
yeah, I mean, that's pretty amazing. So what do you think has been the hardest transition for you, going from, having a fully functional arm to now barely being able to even move it?
I think the hardest, honestly, like, it hasn't been difficult because I dislocated my elbow in high school. So I learned how to drive with my left hand. And so driving was a breeze. I think, just learning how to change diapers for my daughter was probably the most difficult, just because it was all new to me.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, everything else, I mean, like, we're adaptive. Humans are super adaptive, so we can adapt to any situation we're in. And I think, honestly, the hardest thing was probably just learning to do things with my daughter with one arm. Photography was pretty easy to pick up on, when the doctor told me I can't be a photographer anymore.
Oh, he really told you that?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I told him, like, I'm a photographer. He was like, you're going to need to look for a new hobby. And I was just like, I don't think so.
Well, I mean, do you use a tripod a lot? Is that what helps you? Or you just pick up the camera and...
I started using the tripod. That's how I started. After he told me that, I tried using the tripod.
Yeah.
It honestly was just too difficult for me to, like, move around, especially when it came to, like, family shoots and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I learned a way to hold it with one arm.
Okay.
And I shoot weddings now. I shoot family pictures, graduation shoots and everything.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I guess I wouldn't have ever have thought that you wouldn't be able, or how the doctor said you wouldn't be able to be a photographer just because you didn't have two arms or whatever. But
be a little bit more optimistic about it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad that you really found a way to navigate that and, continue the thing that you absolutely love, right?
Definitely.
And so just, what do you, I know that having your daughter has really helped you sort of look more towards the future, or look more optimistically towards your own future. So if there's something that somebody was going through and they kind of just, whether, had something that was holding them back from moving forward, like, what's something that you can advise to them that, they can still be whatever they want to be no matter what, they're going through?
I think, like, one thing that I always gotta keep telling yourself is, and some people might think it's mean, but it could have been worse.
Yeah.
In any situation, I know our parents told us when we were kids that there's kids that are out there that have it worse than we do.
Yeah.
And that's 100% true, even in life, because I'm walking around. Although my arm doesn't work, I'm walking around taking pictures, playing with my daughter.
Yeah.
I drive a stick shift car. Like, I do everything, and I mean, I could have been paralyzed from the neck down.
Yeah.
I could have had brain damage. I could have passed away.
That's true.
And it could have been worse. And at the end of the day, it's gonna get better if you just keep pushing and you keep going and you just stay optimistic. It's gonna get better. I promise that. Like, you might be in a cloud right now, but I mean, it's as cliche as it is. The clouds go away and the sun will come out.
Yeah, I mean, the sun's always there, right? It's just hidden by clouds. So,
Exactly.
I mean, I agree with you. I think that, a lot of people tend to get unmotivated when they have a really bad setback or they feel like they can't come out of something.
Definitely.
And so it's important to know that there's, like you said, there's people that go through worse and come out as strong as ever. And so that means that you can do it as well. And I think that's something that is really important. People should hear, So, I mean, other than photography, there's a couple other ventures that you are interested in doing, right? So, what are some of those, and what are some things that you're doing to sort of push that and be successful in some of those things that you do? Can you use your experience in photography for those things as well?
So I started working out in the beginning of January.
Uh-huh.
It was the New Year resolution, and I stuck to it.
Yeah.
And that's the first time I ever stuck to doing something like that.
Okay.
And people often ask, like, how do you work out? You can't even bench press.
Yeah.
I mean, they make a lot of machines for one arm, and then when it comes to benching or anything, I use dumbbells.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm currently, I work out almost every day except weekends. I work out at 3 a.m.
Oh, wow.
every day, and then I go to work. But I don't think photography leads into working out, but that's something I've really learned to like, especially like with nutrition. Like, we have one body. If we take care of it,
Mm-hmm.
that's probably the best thing we can do. Especially with diseases going around nowadays.
Yeah.
It's these healthier people are making it out because they're doing something about it. They're taking care of their body, their life.
Yeah.
And it starts with little things like eating right. I've cut fast food out. That's the best thing I've done. I drink occasionally, not as much, but I drink occasionally. And it's little things like that, but I think that's something that I want to venture into and just explore the most is just nutrition and just taking care of our body, just getting our body to 100%.
Yeah, that's something that's I think is really important. I have a little bit of experience with that because I feel like for the longest time I would eat pretty unhealthy. One of the things that I really loved to do, especially when I was a lot younger, was drink like soda. Yeah. Soda was like, it was so
real quick.
Yeah, it's real quick. On a hot day, sugar and coldness of a Coke is just great, right?
Unbeatable.
Yeah, so then, I cut that out, a few years ago. Maybe every now and then I'll have it here and there, but, I cut that out and only really drank water for the most part. And let me tell you, like, once I did that, I felt so much better. Like, I felt like I had so much more energy.
It's...
Like, I don't even drink, like, even to today, like, I don't even feel like I need to drink something like coffee to keep me awake through the day.
Yeah.
Because I just feel like I have this natural sort of energy built. And it all started when I just decided to stop drinking soda so much and just focus more on drinking water and eating a little bit more healthy,
Sorry about that. Sorry.
No, it's fine. I mean, I was pretty much done. So.
No, yeah, I was gonna just touch up on what you said. Like, yeah, when you switch your diet and cutting soda out, it changes drastically.
Mm-hmm.
A couple months ago, I was working. I would edit till about 12 o'clock at night, and then go to the gym at 3. So that was 3 hours of sleep. After the gym, I would pop a Red Bull, drink a Red Bull, and then start my day. And I was drinking Red Bulls every single day for at least like 2-3 months.
Oh wow!
And I realized, like, I'm gonna give myself a heart attack one of these days. So I was just like, no, like I can't be doing this. And then same thing with fast food. Like, I would eat fast food, it's quicker. I have a 30-minute lunch at work, so I would just run to McDonald's, I try to find the healthiest thing, chicken sandwich or something, and then eat that. But I mean, even that's processed. So about 3-4 months ago, I decided to cut energy drinks out, coffee, and fast food out, just cold turkey. Yeah. And I was vaping, so I stopped vaping 100% as well. Okay. So like you said, I would wake up and I would drink water, and then I got into drinking lemon water. I drink a hot lemon water every morning.
Oh, hot lemon water. Okay.
Yeah. So it helps just soothe your throat if anything's going on, or and helps your blood and stuff. So I'll drink a hot lemon water instead of like a hot tea or coffee in the morning, and then get my day started and just drink a lot of water throughout the day. And if I don't make lunch, I'll go to Chipotle.
Oh yeah.
It's pretty healthy. So
yeah, Chipotle. I love Chipotle. It's pretty good. One thing that is pretty common amongst people who like, they intake things like alcohol or even soda or cigarettes or vaping. Maybe I'm not too sure. I've never done that, so I don't really know about that. But a lot of those things, a lot of people tend to end up becoming a little bit dependent upon. Whether it's they want a little quick stress reliever or something like that, they'll go to their fridge, pop the cap off a beer bottle and just drink it, and whatever the case might be. And so when that happens, a lot of times it's very difficult for people to stop it. And I felt you said you cut off things like soda and coffee like cold turkey. I remember when I decided to stop drinking soda, it was very hard. It was very difficult because it felt like I really, really wanted it. And so like I could kind of understand how people feel when they say that they really need a cigarette or something like that. So how was that for you when you just like cut it off cold turkey? Was it pretty easy, or did you find some difficulty in that?
It definitely was difficult. I feel like the caffeine withdrawal definitely masked the nicotine withdrawal.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't experience the nicotine one too bad.
Yeah.
But the caffeine, that it was hard. I would get anxious.
Oh, I see.
I was getting really anxious at times where like I had no idea why. Like I was anxious, and my boss would tell me like, oh, have you had a coffee today? I'm like, no, I don't drink coffee anymore. He's like, that's probably why. Yeah. So that's definitely been the hardest part, was that anxiousness. And I mean, you just gotta, our mind is the strongest thing. And if you tell yourself like, I'm fine, like this isn't real, you're good, you should be able to push through it. Yeah. But I mean, everybody, most people might just give in and drink the coffee just so they feel better, but that's the hardest part. But again, you'll get through it, and if you get through it, you'll be good at the end of the tunnel. So
I think that is a good point that you made, because it's very difficult for someone to be like, okay, like there is a better ending to this if I could just push through and make it there, right? They're like, I feel like a lot of people will be like, okay, I'm cutting out coffee, for example, or I'm cutting out smoking or whatever, or drinking, but they get that sudden urge, that little temptation. They're like, you know what, maybe I can do this tomorrow.
One won't hurt me. Yeah, one won't hurt me.
One won't hurt me, right? And then you just end up, it's like 2-3 months later, and it's like you still had one every day.
Back in day one.
Yep, exactly. And so I think that is something that I'm sure not everybody struggles with, but I feel like there's something in everybody's life where they feel a little bit dependent on something. It doesn't have to be some sort of substance. It can be just any little thing, right?
Yeah.
So over the years, is there anything that you kind of struggled with the most, where you felt like maybe you were a little dependent upon during that time, or even maybe now, if that is the case? Like, is there something that you're working towards on kind of, doing or I guess removing out of your life to make yourself better, or your life better, yeah, for that matter?
Dependent on is a hard word for me, because I don't think I have, like, I've never got turned to alcohol, and I mean, I've experienced some pretty crazy things in life from this, and losing my dad at such a young age, and like I don't think I've ever turned to anything. I mean, in high school, I turned to smoking weed a lot, but I mean, I feel like every kid in high school might, but I mean, that wasn't hard for me to turn away from. But I think the hardest thing would be after my accident. I got my mouth wired shut.
Oh, okay.
And it was wired shut for about 6 weeks. So I missed food, and I missed drinking 100%. So as soon as I got my wires off, I went straight into eating, and I ate unhealthily for a good 2-3 years. Like
2 or 3 years, okay.
It was bad. I was maybe like 2 years, and I was drinking frequently. Especially, I did turn to this when COVID first came out.
Yeah,
I drank a lot. Like I would have like 2 to 3 beers a day.
Oh wow, okay.
but I mean, I feel like that was easy for me to cut out, but I think the eating is definitely the hardest part for me to cut out.
Yeah. I mean, like, eating is something where our body takes in as a pleasure. So, of course, like, when you have something that tastes really good, you're going to want more. And that's exactly what, you know, things like candy is, right? They want it to taste as good, so you want more, right? But they know. The people that make it know it's not the best for you. They're like, no, they'll buy it anyways.
They know what they're doing.
They know exactly what they're doing. So, but that's good. You know, I'm glad to hear that now you're back on track where you want to be. You have a better diet, working out now and everything. And I think the most sort of admirable thing is that you do all of this even though you're injured, and you just find a way to do it no matter what anybody tells you. And I think that's really, really cool, because a lot of people, I think, in that situation might just give up, you know.
100%. Yeah,
and so,
especially with like disabling injuries, a lot of people, and it's as sad as it is, you know, a lot of people are committing suicide nowadays.
Yeah.
And that's sad, you know, especially younger kids. Like, you know, you have so much to live for, whether you have one arm, you know, one leg, no legs, or you know, you have so much to live for, and then you realize, you know, your family really does love you.
Yeah.
They would crush anybody if you were to leave at any time. So I mean, that's the main thing, is just doing it for your family, and at the end of the day, you know, you'll see why you're supposed to be here.
Yeah.
And it's just pushing through those dark times. So
yeah. So would you say that once that accident did happen, that was like your darkest moment, or where you found yourself in the darkest headspace, or knowing that you're going to have a daughter pretty much at the same time that this happened kind of kept you from reaching that point?
Having my daughter definitely, or knowing I was having a daughter coming up, definitely helped me a lot. And I know it, like, if I didn't have her, it probably would have been a lot darker. I was still dark during that time, but you know, knowing I had her coming up and I wanted to meet her, that was definitely a boost. But like, it was still pretty hard to get through that mental, like why me, you know, why did this happen to me, out of everybody, me, like like, oh, I should have just, and as sad as it is, you know, I feel like if anybody that goes through any life-changing thing, like, oh, why couldn't I have just died or something, you know, like, this sucks, you know. But I love life, and I think I'm grateful every single day I wake up. Yeah. And I'm just happy that I pushed through that, you know. And I feel like that's the main thing in life, is that there's light at the end of the tunnel. Yeah, no,
100% there is. And so, like, what would you say was something that you did, or maybe someone in particular that really helped you through that time? I mean, I know you said that your daughter really kind of helped you, but like,
she wasn't here yet,
but you know, maybe just the thought of her kind of just helped you as well. But like, in terms of your mentality, is I guess what I'm asking a little bit more, like, what helped you sort of gather yourself together and find that light at the end of the tunnel?
Honestly, like, when it comes to this mentality, I sort of had to, it sucks because I sort of had to build it myself, of trying to stay positive. But 100%, like, my mom, my fiance, and my fiance's family, and my family as well, they all contributed it. Yeah. And it helped a lot, 100%, them not even seeing my arm. You know, like, they didn't see me for my arm, so they didn't, like, oh, like, what's going on with your arm today? They just, I was here. If I went to a party, you know, like, oh, you want a beer? Yeah. There's a beer, you know, like, they're not talking about my arm. And I think that's the biggest thing for me. It was for me in the beginning, was knowing that people weren't looking at my arm. You know, they weren't, like, paying attention. That's not what they cared about, you know, they cared about me. Yeah. And that definitely helped me push. Now, I mean, it doesn't bother me. You know, I go to the gym. Some people might stare a little bit too long. It doesn't bother me anymore. And that, my family definitely helped. That was a boost, and it helped my positiveness, I guess. Yeah.
And like, did you find it difficult for you to talk about that accident or at the beginning, and then you kind of just over time were able to talk about it a little bit more?
I feel like in the beginning, I sort of would have to start the conversation about my arm. You know, like, I walk up and I see somebody staring, and I'm like, oh yeah, I was in a motorcycle accident, just because I wasn't secure, you know. I didn't like people staring at me like that, because I know what they're staring at.
Yeah.
And then over time, yeah, definitely it just became easier to talk about it, just because I know people are genuinely concerned, and most people nowadays, they see me and they think my arm's broken, or like I messed up a disc or something.
Yeah.
So they always ask, like, oh, like, what happened to your arm? And I'm just like, oh, I've been like this for 4 years. Or
Yeah.
if I'm, getting groceries and they're like, oh, do you need help to your car? And I'm like, I've been like this for 4 years. I can,
Yeah.
pretty good, so.
Yeah.
I feel like now, yeah, definitely my family helped, just not showing attention towards my arm. It was probably what made it easier for me.
And do you think that you now have like a newfound respect for other people who are in the similar situation you are in?
100%. Like, this accident opened my eyes for everything. Like, you don't understand. Like, it could be a criminal running down the street, and I'm like, oh, he's probably, like, what if he has a sick daughter?
Yeah.
And like, I look in the positive with everything. You could be the meanest person, and you could cuss me out today, but I'm not going to give you that energy, because, you might be having a bad day. You might have woke up and your mom passed away,
Yeah.
And you really, anybody going through anything, it could be depression, it could be anxiety, it could be a disability. You don't know what people are going through at that exact time. So it's just nice to be kind to anybody. And this injury definitely helped me open my eyes and just be more grateful towards life. And if somebody is having a bad day, let them have their bad day. Just don't give them that energy. There's no need to waste your energy in somebody that's not gonna appreciate it.
Yeah, that's true. 100%. You never know what people are going through, so I think that's something that's important to understand. And there's a lot of people who have hot tempers, so like something like that might happen, they just kind of triggers them and they just go off themselves. But no, I think you're right. I think you never really know what anybody else is going through. So for me personally, I'm kind of in the same boat as you. I try not to judge anybody too much off of decisions they make. If it's something that you can see is consistent, then maybe you can make a judgment based off of that. Definitely, but if it's just one moment that somebody has, it could just be a bad moment. But I've heard you over the course of this recording mention positivity a lot, and you trying to be as positive as you can. Is there maybe it was before the accident, not entirely sure, but did you find yourself not to be as optimistic? Were you a little bit more pessimistic in terms of your mind and how you thought about things, or how has your sort of mentality changed over time?
So I wouldn't call myself a pessimist, but before my accident, I just wasn't, I didn't care, it's crazy, because I would I always base this, because I had no problem with getting in my car and driving 120 miles to work. 120 miles per hour to work, it's just, I didn't see the value. I don't want to see the value in life, I took life for granted, because I felt like, I was young and I couldn't die.
Yeah.
Or I couldn't get injured. That's what I felt like as a kid, and even 18 years old, that's what I always felt like. And I just, when you go through something like this, whether it's an injury or you lose a family member, or you're depressed, or you're eating unhealthily, you might helps open your eyes when you get through it, because you got through it, going through whatever you're going through. So I feel like I wasn't a pessimist before, but I just definitely just took life for granted.
Got it. Yeah. And there's always that saying that everything happens for a reason, so maybe definitely. It's that had to happen in order for you to realize what the true values in life are. And I feel like that's something that a lot of people go through. They'll have what I like to call a turning point, where they realize that, life is important, and life is can be taken away at any moment. Something can happen and your life's changed forever, right? And so I just want to go a little bit back to something that's related to your photography. You had mentioned before that you had taken a photography class. You only took one class though, and then after that you just decided not to take any more classes. Is that because you just felt like you didn't need to take the class anymore for photography, or is there something else that just kind of came up?
So yeah, I took that class in 2016, and they didn't have the class for winter, and then I just decided not to sign back up in spring because I was busy with work at the time. And then spring of April 2017 I went down, and that's what sort of altered me from going back to school. I jumped back into photography during with the injury, just taking pictures of Riverside, going to LA, taking some pictures of LA, and doing like street photography. And then I think it was like a year after that I bought a new lens.
Oh wow.
And it was the 50 millimeter. It's a portrait lens, and that's what got me into portraits. And I was like, whoa, like this is 10 times better than taking pictures of cities. And honestly, like hands down, don't get me wrong, school is important when it comes to being a doctor or a lawyer, stuff like that. That it's important, but being a photographer, if there's little hobbies that you want to do, working out, nutrition, YouTube University.
YouTube University.
100%.
Is that how you learned how to edit photos as well, or you just?
Yeah. So that's the main thing. The class taught me how to use Lightroom. It taught me how to use Photoshop. It taught me how to use all of it. It taught me how to take some pictures and do long exposures. It taught me the base of photography.
Yeah.
And then when it came to doing portraits, some things are different, especially like skin retouching, how you capture the portrait and stuff like that I didn't learn in that class. And that's where I would go to YouTube and find the best photographers. And I'm telling you, there's so many things on YouTube you can watch about different ways to retouch skin, dodging and burning and stuff like that. It's insane. And honestly, like, that's how I learned how to do a lot of my portrait photography. Was based off of photographers on YouTube, and learning different ways brought into how I do it. My own way of doing it. So I now have my own way. I could probably go on YouTube and give a course of how to do it, but don't count YouTube out, because you can learn a lot there. So
I know I learned a bunch of things from there as well. Like even when I started this podcast, there's a lot of little details that I was trying to figure out, and so I would just type that into YouTube, and there's like 2 or 3 videos that you can watch that helps you sort of figure it out, and then you can use that and, like you said, just kind of make it how you want it.
Exactly. Build your own way. And so I mean, that's something that I think is like really, really useful. It's a useful tool. Definitely.
It has become a useful tool, and there's tons of things that you can find on YouTube that if you want to do it, you can learn how to do it just off that, and you don't necessarily need school. I mean, that's one thing that I tell a lot of people too, is that college isn't for everyone. If that's something that you feel like you need to do, it just depends on what you enjoy doing.
Exactly.
If you want to be a doctor, if you enjoy being a doctor and you enjoy that stuff, then you can't skip college, because you need that in order to be a doctor. And but I mean, there's things like if you want to go into entertainment or even sometimes business, like you don't really necessarily need to go into school to get that little piece of paper that you spend thousands of dollars for.
Exactly.
It's better to just you can find out how to do it and kind of build your own way from that.
And I'm not an entrepreneur, but like the entrepreneur way of establishing anything you want to do in life is the best way. Like just keep working and working and working. It'll pay off. So
I mean, I agree. I mean, it's just, as long as you keep going for it and doing your best and improving each time, then I think that you'll eventually be successful, as long as it's something you love doing. Because
if you're happy doing it.
And you're happy doing it, that's, I think, what's really important. And you don't want to be stuck in a job that you hate for your entire life. You'll be miserable.
It's not the way of living life.
It's not. So, I mean,
practice makes perfect. That's another thing that we were told a lot as kids, whether it was the sport you were playing or homework. Practice makes perfect. It's 100% true. Yeah,
honestly, that's kind of how I live my life currently to this day. I mean, I played tons of sports, especially when I was younger, and that's what playing sports has instilled in me. Is like, if you just keep working at it, you'll eventually get better at it. And that, for me, that I feel like that goes for everything. Even if you feel like you're terrible at school. If you just keep working at it, you'll eventually get better at it. If you think you're bad at anything, really, if you love it enough and you're willing to put in the time and effort, you'll eventually be successful at it.
It's the way it is. It's the way of life. You can't just pick something. I mean, some people can. Don't get me wrong. Some people can just pick something up and be good at it. But I mean, I've realized within literally, and I've been taking pictures for 4 years.
Yeah.
I've been doing portraits for 2 years, and I 100% within the last, since April. How long is that? What's 4 months?
Oh yeah, this year April.
Yeah. Since April, I've been fully booked almost every weekend.
Oh wow.
And I think I've gotten better within these last 4 months than I have in the last 2 years I've been taking pictures.
Yeah, I mean, the more opportunities you get to, build upon your talents, I feel like you'll just get better and better each time. So, you'll have a shoot this weekend, and you'll do that shoot, and then the next weekend you're just a little bit better.
Exactly.
It might not be a whole lot, but it builds up over
eventually,
time.
Give it some time, you're gonna the end. And I mean, you're gonna always keep learning. Yeah,
and you can always keep learning. So I think that's really something that we agree with. I think it's really important for people to know as well.
Definitely.
So, what do you think? In terms of your field of photography, are you like sort of on your own with it, or do you have other photographers that you talk to and like get with to take photos or whatever the case might be? I don't know too much about the field of photography, so I'm a little curious. And
so that's it. I do have a group of photographers that I primarily talk with. I have a photographer that comes with me when I shoot weddings.
Okay.
I'll have her as a backup, just so she can get exposure to shooting weddings as well,
Yeah.
And it also builds my confidence a little bit, knowing I just have somebody just in case I miss a shot.
Yeah.
She's right there with me, but I do have a group of photographers that we all support each other. They post a picture, I comment on it. I post a picture, they comment on it, and then we have a group message. We'll go in there, and they go to like Joshua Tree, and they'll do like the nighttime shoots and stuff like that. And
that's really cool.
I feel that's super cool, and I would love to go with them every once in a while, but I just never have the time to. But if I have a question about anything, I'll hit them up, like, hey, or if I'm too booked and I can't take somebody, I'll send my clients their way.
Yeah. That's always nice.
It's super nice, and definitely, we all feed off of each other. Yeah. So that's a cool thing about it. But I mean, when it comes to like, taking pictures, it's all me, like all the shoots you see, I do that myself. I don't have a backup holding, flashes or giant reflectors. I'm a full-on natural light photographer.
Yeah.
I'm not really big for the flashes, unless I need to at nighttime. But yeah, I mean, we feed off of each other, we inspire each other. But other than that, like when it comes to taking the pictures and the editing, that's primarily just me,
Yeah, no, that's really cool, especially, seeing where you started, I guess, and
definitely.
then where you're at now.
Definitely.
And then you can probably imagine where you could be in a couple years or so now, right? Has there been like a shoot that you like was scheduled, for example, or something, and I don't know, maybe rain or something came and like it ruined it, and like how did you handle that sort of situation?
So this one's funny. I mean, most of the time we're pretty good with weather.
Yeah.
So I have two shoots that really stand out to me when it comes to that. I mean, this one was just a shoot with my fiance's family. Like her mom, they wanted to do family pictures. She has four siblings. So it's it was just a big family shoot, and we thought we were gonna go up to Oak Glen in December.
Oh, December.
And do like a field shoot, like a more nature, like a fall shoot, because we're in California. We didn't expect snow.
Yeah.
It rained like 2 days before that, and we get up there and it's completely snowed out everywhere, and everybody's out there playing with snow. So we weren't expecting the snow. My fiance's mom was wearing open-toed heels. So we weren't expecting the snow at all.
Yeah.
And we literally just pulled over in a driveway and took their family pictures, and I promise you they're probably the best family pictures I've taken. One of the best, because every family picture's their own, so that one we just adapted to it and just made that one as best as we could. And honestly, we weren't expecting the snow, but they turned out to be like epic. So And then the second time was back in March. I scheduled a portrait shot of with a girl that I know.
Yeah.
And we were gonna do it in downtown Riverside, and we literally pull up and it starts hailing.
Oh, hailing! Oh,
it was
wow.
hailing, and like we're just like, wait, so what are we gonna do? So we ended up going to a parking structure in downtown Riverside and taking some shots in there, and then the sun came out.
Oh, wow.
And we went up top on the parking structure, and it was like the way the sun was hitting the light,
reflecting off the
ground,
yeah,
turned into like some pretty dope shots. So
that's really cool.
I mean, most of the time when it comes to weather changes, people are down to try something different.
Yeah.
But most of the time we're pretty good with the timing.
Yeah.
If I see it's a little cloudy that day, we'll just adapt. And if they're down to do cloud pictures, we'll go do cloud pictures.
Yeah.
It depends. And then I'm, as an editor, editing the pictures, I can make a cloudy day look sunny, and I can even make a sunny day look cloudy. So that's the cool part about it. But most of the time people are just open to adapting to the weather. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, that's great. I mean, I'm glad that you have that ability to adapt to situations. I think that's probably actually really important, and seems like it's important in photography, especially.
Oh, definitely. Photography. It popped in my mind last minute right now. Just somebody booked me to shoot a wedding in November, in the beginning of the year, and we didn't think about the time change. So the time changed, and the wedding started at 4.
Oh, I see.
They didn't end up walking down the aisle till about 4:30, and the sun was already starting to set. So I mean, luckily, the whole service part I was able to catch.
Yeah.
As soon as the service was over, it was almost pretty much night, and they asked like, "Oh, can we still do the couple pictures by the golf course?" And I'm just like, maybe. I mean, maybe not. But I took them down there, and I mean, I was able to get a couple shots out of it. But I mean, it wasn't too bad.
Yeah. So what would you say has been the most enjoyable thing about taking pictures of people or even landscapes or anything like that? What's been your most enjoyable part about it?
I think the most enjoyable is definitely just like seeing people react to it. Like
the reaction is what
definitely like even when I take pictures, and they're not edited, and I show them like at the shoot, they're like, "Oh my God, these are so beautiful," and I'm just like, I haven't even touched them yet, and so that's just change it. Like people don't appreciate pictures as much as they did back in the days. Yeah. But there's a lot of people that still do, and people can tell the difference between an iPhone and a camera. So when I take those pictures and I send them to them, they love them, especially when it comes to weddings or engagement pictures. They love them. But I think that definitely the most enjoyable thing is seeing people post my pictures.
Oh, the posting. Okay.
Because
you kind of feel proud at that moment, right? Proud of yourself.
I feel
accomplished.
Proud, but like it's crazy because I look at them and I'm just like, I didn't take that. It doesn't feel like I don't, just because I do it every day, I don't feel that like I'm that good, and then people post me, and I'm just like, well, like they're pretty clean, so that's probably the most enjoyable, seeing people put it on their page as their, Instagram picture, or, I go out with friends and they unlock their phone and it's my picture right there. It's just, it's pretty cool. So that's probably the most enjoyable, is just seeing people, use my pictures. So.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that if I was me in that position, I'd feel pretty proud and like, yeah, this is cool. Like I actually did that sort of thing, You said that, I guess, initially or maybe in the moment, if you taking the pictures, you don't feel like you're the best photographer or something like that, until sometimes you see the pictures after and you're like, okay, like that's pretty cool. Is that something that like kind of motivates you to keep becoming a better photographer? Because of that feeling that you have is like I don't know if this is good or not, or sort of thing.
I definitely think so, just because, I mean, like I'm confident going to a shoot. I'm confident knowing that I'm going to be able to catch the right pictures, like I'm confident, but like I still get there every single shoot, and I shoot all the time. I'm still a little nervous.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, that's definitely what keeps pushing me to get better, because I know I can do better, and I know like my pic, it sounds cocky, but like I know my pictures are nice, but I know they can be nicer, so that's why I want to just keep going, just knowing that I can make them even better, add something different into it, add a little sun glare into it, just little things like that. And I always try to switch it up, even if I'm shooting at the same location that I've shot at before.
Okay.
I try to just go at a different angle, you know, move the camera a little bit this way, just so it's something different. And I'm learning how to do something different every single time.
Yeah, I mean, that's really cool. Do you also like take videos as well, or is it just like pictures for you?
It was always pictures, and people would hit me up like, "Oh, do you do videos?" And I'm like, "Nah, it's not something I really do."
Yeah.
But somebody hit me up and they insisted that, like, no matter how bad it was, like try to do a video. And I was like, you guys are having a kid. Like, I don't even know. Like, I don't want to like ruin the video. So
yeah.
I did the video for them, and I hit up one of my friends that's also a photographer, Hugo.
Yeah.
And he sold me his old video recording kit, the gimbal.
Oh, okay.
And he set it up for me and everything, and I went to the shoot, and I had no idea how to use it. Honestly, that video, it could have been better, but I'm glad that couple let me do their video. And within the last like 5 months, I've gotten into video. I did my first wedding video.
Oh, okay.
And it came out pretty good. I think I got a big stand. A lot of people liked it, and then a handful of my friends, all of us are getting married. We're all engaged.
Okay, yeah.
So I've done 2 of their engagement shoots, and I've thrown in a free video for them. And I'll do videos, and I think both of them came out perfectly. So it's just the practicing, and obviously I have a lot of room to grow when it comes to video.
Yeah.
But primarily it's always been pictures, but I think video, I'm starting to learn to love it, you know, like just especially like wedding videos. Those touch people, you know, and you just want to make sure they're perfect. So
those are the only sort of videos you've shot so far, is just wedding videos?
Wedding videos, and then like just couple engagements.
Okay.
So, like, you know, just couples together and stuff.
So you mentioned you're engaged right now.
Correct, yeah.
And when do you plan on, well, congratulations, by the way, but when do you plan on
tying the knot?
Yeah.
We're looking more in the beginning of 2023 or the end of 2022.
Okay.
So a good year.
Yeah.
We just want to let her finish up school.
Yeah,
and
makes
then
sense,
let her get established with her job, and then I think we're looking to buy a house before we move out. I know we're doing it backwards, but it's 2021, so
there's no right way of doing it
exactly.
nowadays. You do it in the way that's best for both of you, right?
Exactly. We have a kid already. We already did it backwards, you know. So we want to look into getting a house, and then maybe tying the knot after that. But the hardest part is, I mean, obviously the wedding is whatever she wants to do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fair.
I wanted to just go to like a nice location in Northern California with our family. Yeah. And just get married next to a waterfall or something, you know?
Yeah.
But
that'd be really cool.
She wants the big Temecula type wedding, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like the wine places over there.
She likes the little wineries, and then she's been getting into like I know Malibu has like a lot of like forested areas. Yeah. So I think she's been looking at stuff like that, but it has
I'm
to be
sure
big.
It'll probably change a few times over the course of the year.
100%. So. She's already changed colors within the last month, so.
So yeah, but that's really cool. And I'm assuming you'll probably have a friend of yours or somebody to do those photos for you, or that video, whatever you decide.
I'm actually doing it.
You're gonna do it yourself?
I'm just kidding. No way.
Like, I don't know if she would be okay with that.
No, yeah, we definitely have. I mean, I have a handful of friends that could do it, and then I mean, I'm also looking at other photographers. You know, there's different styles out there, so
yeah, that's true.
That's one thing I think is going to be in my hands, just because I'm a little pickier when it comes to the way the pictures come out.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. So one thing that I really like to ask everyone that comes onto this podcast is, right now, currently, do you consider yourself to be happy and living a happy life, and if not, are there anything that you're doing to sort of, reach that point?
So I'm content. I'm happy because I get to be with my daughter every day. Yeah. One thing that I think I would love to do would take photography full time. Okay. And it's hard, just because I'm working at the same time. Yeah. So I think that would help out a lot, as if I took photography full time. And I know it's the hardest part, is jumping into quitting your job. Yeah, that's true. 100%. So I mean, I'm happy with my fiance. I'm happy in my current job, you know, even if I do want to quit it, you know, I'm happy that I have the job, and I'm happy to be alive, you know, and just keep making my life better. So I'm contently happy, I guess.
Yeah.
So
That's good. I mean,
I could be happier.
Yeah, I mean,
everybody can, you know.
Yeah.
So
yeah, if you had the perfect life, then you'd be 100% happy all the time.
Definitely.
Right? So is there, like, what step do you think you need to take in order to become a full-time photographer? Do you just need to build a bigger clientele, or is it like, is there something else that you need to do in order to make that jump or make that decision?
So I recently did a shoot with a business, some two girls. They run a picnic business, like, you know, by the beach and stuff like that. They actually helped me propose to my fiance.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they set that up for me. But what they told me, and they blew up. They're being featured on a magazine, and that's why I took their pictures.
Yeah.
And what they told me was, when you're booked every weekend, that's a sign that you might want to, like, raise your rates or quit your job. And I think, honestly, the next step that I need to take before I quit my job would definitely be to raise my rates. Okay. I shoot at a fairly cheap price. Yeah. And I think I do it just because, you know, not a lot of people can afford to take pictures. Yeah. And one thing that really helped me blow up was I was doing graduation shoots, especially like last year. Yeah. And I feel like I was pretty decent last year. I was doing graduation shoots for graduates for $20. Oh, wow. Just because, I mean...
That's very nice of you.
Right? Yeah. Like, you know, I feel like I know a handful of kids in high school, or even myself, you know, I didn't grow up wealthy or anything, but, like, there's probably a handful of kids in high school that probably don't ever get graduation shoots because their family can't afford it. Yeah. And that's why I said $20. You know, like, it's $20, you know, and I was fully booked, and then this year I couldn't do $20. I did half off a shoot, though. Okay. So, and that even... I got pretty booked with that. Yeah. But I think I mean, I keep those rates, you know, for graduation shoots, but when it comes to everything else, I think I'm going to have to raise my rates a bit just so I can, you know, create a living, make a living off of it. Because as much as I make right now, it can get by, but it's not to make a living. So the next step would definitely be probably to raise my rates. Yeah. My client base is pretty huge right now.
That's good. Yeah.
And then if I do raise my rates, again, I'm all about giving back. Yeah. So I'm definitely gonna, like, have, like, promotions, you know, or, you know, you book me once, next shoot half off, you know, just something like that, because I appreciate everybody out there that's booked me, because, you know, they've helped me get better as a photographer, and they've helped me with, you know, like, you know, paying stuff. So I appreciate everything, and I'm always about giving back. So the next step would definitely probably be raising rates, just so I can see if that's going to be sustainable to quit a job. So I just have to replace that income.
I think that's probably, it makes sense, you know, to raise your rates, because that can cover a lot more of what you need to take care of, right?
Exactly.
Do you get a little bit nervous thinking about that, though? Like, if you were to raise the rates, I don't know by how much you would do it, but, like, maybe less people would be interested.
100%. I'm nervous. I'm so nervous about that. Like, that's something. Yeah, I'm super nervous about that. And another thing I was thinking about, I forgot to mention, I want to put my business on the books. Oh, yeah. So, you know, I mean, I don't have to pay some money back at the end of the year or the beginning of the year, but that's money I can claim when it comes to buying a house or even a car. But no, I'm super, super nervous about raising my rates, just because I feel like, you know, a lot of people might book me just because, you know, I am affordable, but I see, and I can't base myself off of other photographers, but I see people out there charging like $400 for 10 pictures, and I'm like, wow, whoa, I wouldn't pay for that, you know? Yeah. So, I mean, I feel like my rates are good, and I feel like even if I do raise my rates and keep, you know, the quality of pictures, I'm never going to give somebody 10 pictures. That's ridiculous. Yeah. So, I think if I do raise my rates, I feel like a lot of people understand that, you know, bills have to get paid, and if I want to quit my job, I'm gonna need to replace that money.
That's true.
So I feel like a lot of people will understand that, but I definitely do see myself losing a lot of clients. Maybe not a lot, but I do see myself losing some clients, but I also do see myself picking up bigger clients. So
one quick thing I wanted to ask. Do you think if maybe I know usually people are a lot more free during the weekends, so that's why you do weekends, right? And maybe you're even yourself more free during the weekends. But let's say you were to quit your job and just at the same price that you have now, just book throughout the week. Do you think that would also be something that could be successful? Or do you think that because during the week is a little more harder for people to have time to take photos, you might not get as many people?
I feel like it definitely would help. Like I would be able to book more. I know there are people that aren't off on weekends and they need to book during the week, and I've had to cancel I haven't been able to book a handful of shoots because I don't shoot during the week. But I don't think it would jump drastically.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't think I'd be shooting every week, every day, but I'd be able to book a couple more shoots. But I don't think too much that it would jump too much, because at the end of the day, I feel like a lot of people want weekends, especially when it comes to weddings.
That's true.
Weddings are always on weekends.
Yeah.
I honestly think like people, especially like higher, like especially when it comes to traveling, because I want to travel to like India, Taiwan, and stuff like that, and do shoots for people out there. But I feel like people, they'll pay for pictures, and I see it, because people are paying $400 for 10 pictures. But if I show that maybe my rates are a little bit higher, I feel like people like might go look at my booking and see that my rates are a little cheap, and they're just like,
got it, yeah.
Like, why are his rates so cheap? Like, is he a horrible photographer? Like, what's going on? So I feel like if I raising the rates, it would just attract people, and they'll see like, oh, maybe his work is worth that much, So not $400. I'm not going to do that. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you definitely at some point are probably in the prime position to make that jump to that next level, and hopefully that just takes off and you just keep building your clientele at that rate, and then there you go, you're almost set to make that step to be a full-time photographer. So just speaking about booking you and everything, like where can people go to reach you, or if they wanted to get to book? I know you're booked throughout this year, but in the future, if they wanted to get their photos taken, where can they contact you?
So my Instagram's probably the best way to contact me. That's where I do all my bookings, is J Lou Shoots. And I'm in the process of building my website, so people would be able to just hop on my website, click in it, and they can see, different galleries, whether it's wedding or couple or graduation, and then I want to have a tab on there to just book right there, and
perfect.
They can manually book like that. So, but right now, so just my Instagram.
That'll probably make it easier for your own organization.
100%, because I lose track all the time. It's been a while, but one time somebody hit me up like, okay, so we're about 5 minutes away, and I'm like, wait, what? Like, I completely forgot I had a shoot that day.
Wow.
Luckily it was like maybe 15 minutes away, so I was able to just take off and go do the shoot. But most of the time I'm pretty good with staying on track, especially now that I'm getting a lot busier. But Instagram's definitely the best way to reach out, and then when I get that website set up, it'll be a lot easier. So
that's good. Well, thank you, Jordan. I really appreciate you coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. And I'm really looking forward to see your progress in the future.
Thank you.
And I'll probably one of these days end up doing a shoot with you myself. So
let me know. I'm always here.
Yeah. So. All right. Thank you. And we will see you next week. Peace.
Have a good one.